Guys, the reason we're doing this video is I want everyone to discover us. You know, we've been in business 5 years, but not everyone knows we're here. And I want to show you how we do stuff different and why you should hire us over the competition. We do have reasons, and I want to explain this to you. Everyone wants to know what kind of fishing jobs we can handle. Well, we can handle whatever you call in.
Call the tool pusher. Call the company man too. Tell him we're stuck at 5,500 feet in the well's floor.
Well, we had a pretty strong kick, but my pipe is stuck at 5,500 feet, so now it's turned into a well control problem.
We can do the jarring jobs, the pump and swivel jobs, the bulldog bailers, yeah, open hole, rotary rigs. We can do it. Just call us and we'll figure out what you need. Another question we get asked all the time, do you have pumps and swivels? Because not all fishing companies do. We actually do, and we have several varieties. And the reason why we have several varieties, because everybody has a different liking for their location. You may not be able to dig an earth pit, so you're gonna need a steel pit to circulate out of with your pump and swivel. And that's why we have this big orange monstrosity over here called a drill mobile, because then we can put our fluid in there, pump and swivel away, and no pit on location. Keeps everything nice and clean. You may just want a power swivel for a bulldog baler job, or you hired a foam unit to clean out your well, and we have a couple of those sitting here left in the yard. And to that note, it's just not a swivel. We have either a 45 or a 2.5. So if you're on a single double or a double triple derrick, we can bring out a big swivel that lays down the torque and work on a little deeper well and not get in trouble, and we have plenty of pulling capacity. If we're on a shallower well with a pull rig, we can use our 45 and it fits on there, and the rig crew can handle it easier. And the neat thing about these is we run Schaefer specialized lubrication products in them. So our hydraulic temperatures stay down, engines runs cooler, and last longer. We don't have that hydraulic fade. We should run the same products in the orange one too. Another question, bulldog bailers. Yes, we do have those, 4.5 and 5.5 bailers. And we also know how to set those babies up. We just don't guess at a cavity. You know, some guys say, well, let's run 20 joints. And they'll say, okay, and then they run them and then they don't work. And then we have, once again, we have to go back to the questions. What happened? What's fluid level? So we don't guess, we'll ask you questions, help you set them up. You can take them out yourself. We'll take them out for you and run them. Bring a swivel, whatever you like. Do we have fishermen to run jobs? We do. You know, work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week until your job is done. Do we have wash pipe? We do have wash pipe, and we can actually plan that out to a job. We take into consideration your tubing size that's stuck and then the casing size it's in, and we can actually plan to put bushings with it or not, so it'll go over a fish easier and we don't actually cut it up or cut slivers out of it and window it. Hydraulic jars and boosters. I have a whole rack full, and they're actually sitting right over here. Right now we're running a lot of Johnston hydraulic jars, and everyone has their particular flavor. But once again, I will share with you why we run Johnston is they run Schaefer specialized lubricants in their jars. So we don't have hydraulic fluid. So when those things hit, they stay hitting at a constant hit the whole day. They don't start out really slow and then end up hitting really fast. We have those tuned in so you get your money's worth out of them in the day. And Johnston's the only one that provides surface jars. And those can be ran above ground and actually force the drill pipe to be pushed back in the ground and tuned in to help free stuck pipe from above ground. So the next one, can I rent drill collars from AAFishingTool? Yes, you can. We keep some for 7-inch casing, a lot of 5.5 and a lot of 4.5. Do we deliver tools or do we pick them up? We can do either. We have quite a few customers that come by and we load them up with the tools, and we have a lot they would like them delivered because it's one less hassle they have to deal with. Do we have a sand line drill? Yeah, and it's actually here. It just came back and it's serviced. The big difference with our sand line drill over the others in the area, it's heavy. It's a 3-section. We can add a 4th section to it if need be. It is all screwed together in one piece, as you can see. And so when you order that, we're gonna put it on one of our pipe trailers, bring it out to you, and all we have to do is back up. The crew's gonna check their rope socket out, and then they're gonna undo the connection, screw on their sand line, and they pick this up. We screw an unloader and a bit on there. We keep that in the shop due to the fact we don't want the rust and the flapper get froze on it, so we know it's gonna suck up your plug material. They run that in the hole, knock the plug out, lay it back on the trailer, and we're gone. I mean, we've had a lot of 45-minute jobs with that baby, just in and out. The other method, as you've probably all have been through, is you bring out the 3 heavy chunks, put it on the ground. We spend 2 hours screwing this thing together, then we pick it up, then we do the job, then we lay it down, then we break it apart, then we have to pick it up, put it in the back of a truck. We don't do that. So the savings just on rig time alone is more than worth what the rental on this is. Do we have different sizes of mud pumps and swivels? Yes, I covered the swivels, but we do actually have triplex mud pumps in addition to our duplex. So yeah, we can handle wash downs, and you know, it's a 4.5 by 8 triplex, so it gets up and kicks pretty good. We can do 6-7 barrel a minute, whatever we need to do with it, and runs pretty good pressure. Do we have mills and shoes? Why, yes we do. And we have washover shoes that cover all our wash pipe. And then we have a few different sizes. We actually have bushings where we can adapt them back and forth for certain jobs. And then we have junk mills, flat bottom mills, tapered mills, trim shoes. I mean, we got a little bit of everything. And we can always make more. We got a few of them laying down here, and we have a few sitting over here, and those are kind of in the revamp section. It's where we start piling stuff we'd like to make different sizes, or have a blank canvas to work on if we need to build something. Can you build custom mill shoes? Yes, we can. We just had to build one here recently, and I can see if I can find it over here, for a drilling rig job where they lost a radioactive pad off a logging tool. And we had to think on the fly and try and rig something up to fish that baby. I don't know if I can get to it quick enough. And the company man gave us some parameters, and he didn't want anything sharp in the beveled edge, but we actually had to, you know, fix that gal up with a bunch of wire inside so we could get a friction bite on a square fish, because usually your fish are round, so square is a little awkward. Do you sell drill bits? We sell drill bits. What brand? We like a lot of Veril. That's been what a lot of company men request on our production wells. So that's what we do, keep in stock. Can get whatever sizes, and we run other brands of bits too. We're not against that. You just let us know your flavor you like, and we'll do that. How far do you travel? Anywhere. If there's work, we'll go. No problem. What's the experience level of your fishermen in your company? It's, you know, we've all done this for a while. The 3 of us have been together 5 years, We have a guy that's ran a pulling unit for over 10 years on a derrick. We have a machinist, and then I've been fishing for 15 years. So between all of us, we can all hit each other's knowledge box, come up with a new idea, or hey, I've seen this, I've seen that, and it just clicks and it goes. It's awesome. That's awesome. Can you fish logging line and or logging tools, open hole or cased hole? The answer is yes. We have cable spears and we have the right size cable head grapples. Can you fish sandline cable? Ugh. Yes. Sandline cable can be a booger. We can fish it. Can you fish submersible pump cable? Why, yes, we can. We're currently on a job doing that right now, so that's not a problem. We do keep tar blocks and lead blocks for the right application in stock, about whatever size. And we got some other stuff hanging around, another shelving. And then we keep the, your sand line subs too, and they already have a hole or a drain sub in them. So you can screw right on with a couple joints of tubing and run down. Can we fish out anchors? We can do anchors, we can do packers. We can use mill shoes to wash over them and fish them out. And that brings me to a point. We did an anchor job not too long ago, and it all started out where they tried to shear it, and the tubing gave before they got the anchor sheared. So we were called out to fish, and which we did, and I believe Craig was on that one, and he had a little trouble latching onto it, but dinking around a bit, and he got over it. And we were fishing a coupling, which would have been screwed on here. He got a bite, and then it was still stuck, and they were going to have wireline truck come out and free point and back them off. And next morning they started working and actually got the tubing free and came out of the hole, which was kind of a godsend, because when he released the Overshot, this little chunk was sitting on top of his fish. So we would have never got wireline in there. We would have been, releasing a tool and running a magnet or a mill and cutting this up, getting rid of the obstruction before we went down. But we just thought that was pretty neat, so we wanted to document it and keep it around. So I obviously painted it and welded this guy on here so it wouldn't leave us. But yeah, it's just, you don't think of that all the time, and it does happen. And rod wear, we think, was to blame. It just really made the tubing thin over here, and it just popped it. Just snapped, and didn't take that much. How do I set up jobs? Well, you can hit us up on Facebook, call my number 620-262-1836, email us at aaron@aafishingtool.com. If you know one of the guys' numbers that works here, call them. They'll help you out too. We all take those duties, and it's that simple. Another question I've been asked, I shouldn't say I've been asked this, but I wish I would have been asked this question. How or what is the first step to getting seal tight tubing unstuck? And that's the plastic line tubing with the cement liner behind it. The first step is to know you're stuck and stop right there. The instant you try and pull over on that, jack it around a little bit, the plastic cup or the plastic lining and the inserts start to shrink up on you, and they will take your ID away from you, and then you have no options but an outside cutter, mechanical cutter, and it's not the fun way to go about it. When do I know when to use a bumper sub? And we got some bumper subs laying right here, and basically that's just a big slide hammer. It scopes apart here. It'll move 18 inches, big mechanical slide hammer. That's one of the cheapest things you can run on your fishing string to help you engage the fish and disengage the fish if you have to release and come out and go to plan B. They also give you a little downhole force. When you're closer to the stuck point, you can sit there and work it a little harder or jar up on it, and we've got anchors out just by using a bumper sub for a while. How do hydraulic jars and boosters work? We get asked that a lot. The hydraulic jars are basically a big hydraulic cylinder. and you're pulling a piston up against some fluid and compressing it, and they have a little metered hole that lets it bleed off. And as soon as it gets enough fluid below the piston, that jar actually just pop up, and that's what gives you your jar action. Then on the other hand, if you run boosters, those are a gas. So you're just compressing a gas and it's holding tension, so when the jar hits and bounces up, that gas is going to help it drag it up, making it twice as effective. How do you decide on how many drill collars to run in between jars and boosters? We have some calculations we can run for that. Your depth in the wellbore definitely comes into consideration, but also what kind of impact you want. If we know it's 200 foot of stuck pipe, we're going to go more for an impulse hit, which you want more drill collars so it's drawn out in a longer pulling force. If it's just one stuck point like a packer or an anchor, we want an impact hit. We're going to run less drill collars. That way it's a big strike, real big hammer hit at once, and try and break and shear it and make it come out like that. What's the best fishing tool, Overshot or a spear? You know, everyone has their preference on that. You know, we got the old spear right here, and then we have Overshots right beside it. Here's what I always suggest. People go off pricing sometimes. Spear's obviously cheaper, but the grapple is twice as much to replace if you break it. Overshots are a little more money on the first day rental, but the grapples are cheaper to replace if they break. An Overshot will give you a lot more advantages. You don't restrict the ID, so you can actually latch onto something and run wireline tools inside of it, or pull your rods back out and your pump. There's just a lot of things you can do with an Overshot you can't with a spear. A spear will plug up your ID and then the show's over, and if it doesn't happen to release, you're in a pickle. But spears have their place. We use them too, but we usually try and go to an Overshot first if at all possible. How would I fish rods that are above tubing and casing? So that means our tubing is broke, we've pulled it out of the hole, and we still left rods in there. So with those exposed, like 3/4 rods and 5.5, those are pretty floppy. That's hard. It's hard to fish with an Overshot or anything else. And we have Clulo sockets, and they can actually go over it, and we can engage it. It'll push up, and we can go down to the top of the tubing and snap it, break it, and get it out of the hole. So we can handle that. How do you fish a radioactive source out of a well? And this would be an open hole job if a logging tool was stuck and then the pad got ripped off. And we talked about this shoe earlier with the wire. You can use an item like this to go down. That would be a nice gentle option to stick that square source inside of. And we also have the right size grapple with like a 7 3/8 Overshot that we can go down and grab it. But with that, you got to be careful the weight applied and other things so you don't break the source open. And we have a few other tricks up our sleeves we can do for that too. And I've been asked this before too, what is a right hand wicker grapple and where would I use that? A right hand wicker grapple actually has some different cuts inside of it, and it's meant to latch back on a packer or an anchor, and where you can it's gonna really grab when you turn to the right. Traditionally, a grapple is made to when you hook the fish, it's an upward movement, and that's how it sets its teeth. This actually gives you some ability to turn it more and get a little rougher to try and release a fish. And those are very effective. And the last but not least, do you have casing handling equipment? And actually right back here, we do. And we got some out in the field, of course, but got quite a variety. Slip type elevators too in amongst that, but we have some elevators, like a dual purpose, 4.5 and 5.5. They have bushings, so if you're on a plug-in spree, we can load you up with minimal amount of tools in the back of your truck and get her accomplished. We also keep the bales for the elevators as well too. so they'll work on the rig. Sometimes the loops and everything aren't big enough on the ones you have for our elevators, so we can accommodate you there. And in a nutshell, that's kind of what we're up to. So once you've seen what we're capable of now, which is, you know, a pretty good chunk, and we're growing every day on what we can do, how to get a hold of me. That'd be my phone number is the best. That'd be 620-262-1836, and I'll answer that, and that'll be me you're talking to here. You can also go to the form below this ad and fill in your information, and we'll email you, call you back, however you prefer being contacted. We'll accommodate that. And we're also on Facebook. You can go find us there and get a hold of us. If you found value in this and you know that your boss, your tool pusher, your company man needs to hear this, let them know. Share this, please. Tell them about it. Have them fill out the form or give me a call, and we'll set up a job with you guys. And you don't have to just have a job to call us and ask questions. Feel free to call anytime, and you know, you might ask, hey, why do you guys use barrel bits over this and that? And we can talk about that. Or why do you do this shoe combination with that wash pipe? We'll just talk about it. That's how we get to know each other. That way, you know, when we get to a serious time, you know we're gonna communicate all right. You know how this works, so we don't have a misfire on something one day. So yeah, check us out. Thank you.